This is a Squiz Kids podcast. Your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you.
Each week we give the world globe a spin and see where we land. Then we take the kids of Australia on an audio excursion to visit that country and its people. I'm Amanda Bauer, and today on Squiz the World we're visiting the Baltic state of Latvia. Now, Latvia is a country, so why did I describe it as a state? Well, there are three countries that make up what's called the Baltic states: Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. They're all in Northern Europe, they've all got the Baltic Sea on their west coasts, and they all cooperate as members of something called the Baltic Assembly. There are other countries with coastlines on the Baltic Sea: Denmark, Germany, Finland, Poland, Sweden, and Russia, but they don't get to be part of the official Baltic states. So, now we know where we're heading. 13,000 kilometres north to the chilly Baltic Sea. You'd best strap yourselves into the Squiz Kids superfast supersonic jetliner as we take off and take a squiz at Latvia.
Just the facts.
Our plane has landed in Latvia's biggest city, Riga, where 1/3 of the population lives. The city centre of Riga is a World Heritage Site because of a special kind of architecture called Art Nouveau. That's French for new art, and back when these buildings were being constructed in the late 1800s and early 1900s, their style was indeed new and exciting. Of course, when we look at it now, it feels really old.
Fiddlesticks.
Riga has at least 800 Art Nouveau buildings, the highest concentration in the world. That's because right when Art Nouveau was the trendy thing to build, Riga experienced a population explosion and a financial boom. Lots of people moved to Riga, they had money and they needed somewhere to live. I'll stick a link in your episode notes so that you can get a sense of what Riga's Art Nouveau buildings look like. But for now, imagine buildings decorated with lots of organic shapes and objects. Staircases designed with swirling lines, multicolour ceramic tiles, and asymmetrical designs. Riga is also the capital and where Latvia's parliament meets and the president lives. Over history, Latvia has been ruled over by many other people, including the Germans. After World War I, which Germany lost, the Republic of Latvia became independent. But then it was forced to join the Soviet Union, led by Russia. Then it was occupied by Nazi Germany in World War II. Then it went back to Soviet control. It finally got to be independent again in 1991. Whenever you travel, it's important to learn a few words in that country's language. It's a great way to show respect. So let's
learn the lingo.
The official language here is Latvian, which is what's called a Baltic language. We've got Squiz Kid Bruno here to teach us a thing or two. Bruno, how do you say hello?
Sveiki.
Why don't you give it a try? Sveiki. People really appreciate it when you just try to speak a little of their language. They may even thank you for it. Bruno, how do we say thank you?
Paldies.
And thank you to you too. Latvia also has two recognised languages: Latgalian, spoken in the eastern part of the country and very similar to Latvian, and Livonian, which currently has one native speaker in the world. A kid born in 2020. Kuldi Mednes is only 2 years old, but her parents are language revivalists, meaning that they want to bring back the Livonian language. They've learned it and it's all they're speaking to Kuldi. Imagine being the only native speaker in the world of your language. Now that we can communicate a little bit, it's
time for school.
School in Latvia is fairly similar to a school in Australia. The biggest differences are that they don't have to wear school uniforms and they must learn English as a foreign language, followed by a second foreign language, Russian, German or French, when they get to middle school. How fantastic to have every student speaking at least 3 languages when they finish school. Now there's one other thing I am sure kids in Latvian schools spend a lot of time doing: singing. Every school in Latvia has a choir, and every community does too. Let's learn more.
Let's get cultural.
Latvia is known all over the world for its folk songs. What's a folk song? Well, there are different definitions, but essentially it's music that is passed down from generation to generation and that tells an important story of that country or culture. In Australia, Waltzing Matilda is probably our best known folk song. In Latvia, people have been singing folk songs for over 1,000 years. Experts in these sorts of things say there are at least 30,000 Latvian folk song melodies. And Latvians have used song to protest, particularly against Russian rule, and to celebrate. Every 5 years, one of the biggest singing and dancing events in the world happens in Latvia. Around 40,000 Latvian folk dancers, choir singers, folklorists and orchestra members all come together for a week to perform and to celebrate Latvian identity. The Latvian nationwide Song and Dance Festival has been happening since 1873 and it emphasises a cappella singing, which is what we're hearing now. No instruments, just voices singing the Latvian national anthem. Isn't it beautiful? The festival is so important that it's been included in the UNESCO list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity, which is a very complicated name. Oral means something that's spoken, or sung in this case, and intangible means that you can't put a price on how special it is. It's just a very beautiful, very important cultural thing that makes our existence on Earth special. I'll put a link in your episode notes to the full list of 90 UNESCO masterpieces, as well as some video of the festival itself. That is definitely worth checking out. Okay, all that singing and dancing, I'm starving. I think it might be
dinner time.
One of the most well-known traditional Latvian foods is piragi. These are crescent-shaped bread rolls filled with bacon and sautéed onion. Many Latvian families make a ton of these bacon buns for Christmas Eve, and every family has a recipe that is passed down through the generations. A huge thank you to the Latvian Embassy, which has sent through their recipe to us for you to give a try yourselves. It's in your episode notes, and if you're not a bacon eater, I hear they're also delicious, stuffed with mushrooms.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Why is 2-year-old Kuldi Medne a very special Latvian? That's right, she's the only native speaker of her language, Livonian. Question number 2. Which architectural style is Riga best known for? I'll give you a hint. It's a French phrase that means new art. That's right, it's Art Nouveau. And question number 3, what is a cappella singing? You got it, it's voice-only singing, no accompaniment. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for staying curious about the world and joining me on this incredible trip to Latvia. Now get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. These episodes are edited and engineered by Carter Quinn. If you enjoyed that little trip, don't forget that every Wednesday all through the Christmas holidays, the Squiz Kids Superfast Supersonic Jetliner will take off weekly to explore a new country. We've got Latvia, Cuba, Ireland and more on our itinerary. And on Saturdays, Bryce will be challenging you and your grown-ups to a kids versus adults quiz on a different topic each week. And on Mondays, we'll be releasing a Squiz Kids shortcut, where we'll dive into the who, what, where, when, why, and how of big topics like sharks, YouTube, fireworks, and more. All of this amazing content is absolutely free. Consider it Bryce's and my gift to you this festive season. And if you just can't get enough, don't forget about Newshounds, our brand new media literacy program for primary school kids. Your chance to join Squizzy the Newshound as he sniffs out the truth on the internet. If you're keen to know more, head to www.squizkids.com.au. And of course, if this is the first time you've come across us, Squiz Kids Today is a free daily news podcast during the school term, a kid-friendly take on the big news headlines, and we're available wherever you get your podcasts or on our website, squizkids.com.au.